So, our first poet is Miss Diane Frank. Diane Frank is the author of 9 books of poems, 3 novels, and a photo memoir of a 400-mile trek in the Nepal Himalayas. Her new book of poems, Prayer to the Invisible, was an overnight bestseller, number 3 for American poetry, number 3 for poems by women, and while listening to the Enigma Variations, new and selected poems, won the 2022 Next Generation Indie Book Award for Poetry. Diane teaches poetry, flash fiction, memoirs workshops at San Francisco State University and Dominican University. Her first novel, Blackberries in the Dream House, was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. Fun factoid about this woman, she is also a distinguished celloist and plays for the College of Marin Symphony. So, yeah, many hats. So please put your hands together and welcome Miss Diane Frank.
Well, the first thing I want to do is to thank Shauna and Monica for inviting me, for running this series for all of us, and for everything that you do for the poetry community. And one of the things I like to do, since I also run a poetry series, is to invite people who do the kind of things they do to read for me. Sandy has done that. And so the first Friday in May, 6 p.m. on Zoom, both of them will be reading. So I really want to encourage you to show up for them. And if you send an email to bluelightpress@aol.com, and they'll give you that information, then I'll send you the link to get in.
Thank you.
I also wanted to let you know that Blue Light Press is open for chapbook submissions. So if you have something that hasn't been published yet, try us out. All the poems I'm going to be reading tonight are from Prayer to the Invisible, my new book. It was like released on my birthday. It was really fun. And this is Appalachian Symphony is the first poem in my new book. This poem will take you to the Red River Gorge in Kentucky in the Appalachian Mountains. And I strongly believe that if you pay attention, the whole world is speaking to you. Appalachian Symphony. Drink this, morning air and light, bird song in an old growth forest at dawn. The moving shapes of exotic butterflies, so many species flying in from a dream of the mountains. The Red River Gorge, arch of rock, ripple of water under a stone bridge, where time unfolds in the touch of an arm or a leg underwater. This is where music pulls you out of a dream into the warm Kentucky air, into a cave of memories of the mountain. A picnic by the river where you found the agate that morning. The river rippling silver and the sound of a banjo inside an early summer wind, where a symphony reveals itself in the voices of the birds and the synesthesia of butterflies. Listen to the music your fingers reveal every morning. Listen to the wind's mysterious song. My next poem, Walking with My Mom in December, has a few words in Yiddish. Everybody knows Meshuggah and Meshugas, you know, the crazy woman. But there's a word that you probably don't know, which is Ungepatchke. My mother, I think it was just the village where her mother came from, but it means cluttered, gaudy, in bad taste. Walking with my mom in December. My mom and I are walking down the street in New Jersey in December, snow up to my knees. Christmas lights on every house but ours, and she says in the Yiddish vernacular, ungepatschke. Too many colors, too many lights, as cluttered as a rhinestone pin with too many stones. She prefers the illuminated blue star attached to the Wadham's chimney, and the icicles of light hanging from the Higgins eaves, not this mishigas on the Reinhardt's house. My mom must have been Italian in a past life. She loves men with curly hair and Mediterranean skin. She asks our neighbors for heirloom recipes from their Italian grandmothers. My dad loves the way she cooks in the tradition of Grandma Helen, but he has no patience for her love of Christmas carols. Our book of carols in 4-part harmony hides in the piano bench, right next to her Hebrew choir music. She never learned to read music, but I can't complain. With so many years of piano lessons, it was easy for me to teach her the alto part when the choir director composed music for a prayer, and I learned it with her. With that huge, sweet voice she had, she could fill a synagogue or a nightclub without a microphone. So many people told me they had goosebumps when she sang. I have her voice on CD, in Hebrew, in Yiddish, in nightclubs with a jazz combo, singing the blues, but dang, not her hug, not her smile. She took that to the grave. My next poem is about and for my brother David. We were very close growing up. We're still close. My brother David is the only one I know who got thrown out of Hebrew school. 4th grade. I'm somewhere in the room, 4th year of Hebrew school, which was really a public school, after school. My brother's teacher comes down the hall. Maybe you can do something with him. Me? You're kidding, right? I like Hebrew school better than regular school. Letters like doors, houses, and camels, and we had the whole year to learn the alphabet. My brother loved his ability to disrupt a classroom with spitballs or just running around the room and getting his friends to join him. He was tossed out of Hebrew school before the bar mitzvah class. As an adult, he has observed that his friends who are religious are nicer people than some of the rest. Not just his religion, all religions. He was the one who claimed the family menorah, the one with melted wax that accumulated year by year. He never learned to speak Hebrew, but it wasn't something that would help him. Maybe he knew that. In high school, he learned computer-aided design to create complicated parts for airplanes and rockets, and later received an award from NASA for his work on the hydrogen tank of the space shuttle. When 2 astronauts came to talk to his team and asked them not to take shortcuts, he took that to heart, especially when they said, "If you make a mistake, we will die." Even though it wasn't his team when the Challenger blew up, it shook him to the core. When my brother was 10 years old, dyslexic and hyperactive, nobody knew if he would turn out okay. He painted murals on the walls of his bedroom and wove a giant spider web on the ceiling with skeletons and spiders who could lower and raise. He was afraid of the dark, so one of the spider webs let him turn the light off from his bed. This is the point in my poem where you're supposed to tie everything up into a package, tie up the loose ends, and come to conclusions. I cannot. Do not open the door. An alarm will sound. I now have a San Francisco poem with a bit of attitude. I was a San Franciscan for a good part of my adult life. So this is, She Might Be a Ballerina. She might be a ballerina. She is walking on 6-inch heels and struts, like this is the way she was born. She might be dancing the part of Dulcinea, circling the windmill at the end of Golden Gate Park with a dog named Don Quixote. She might be a tattoo artist carrying roses with her trombone. She might be a student at the conservatory, or maybe she wakes up with her own music. She might be busking for sea lions or tap dancing on a streetcar. She blows a kiss to the driver before she exits in her lavender tutu. The sun is falling down into a rotary horizon at the edge of the world. Her music is red and shining. The Golden Gate Bridge is her stage. I am going to read the title poem now of the book, Prayer to the Invisible. I wrote this a year after the shooting at Tree of Life Synagogue. I lost a very dear friend from high school that day, and it's really different losing someone in a mass shooting that you know and love than reading about it. I hope this never happens to you. And this was a year later, and I was just, I was really messed up and grieving for about a year, and I was just starting to turn things over and realize that I needed to just have a better take on everything. Prayer to the Invisible for Dr. Jerry Rabinowitz. I write your name where no one can read it, in the sky behind a cloud, on a stone. I write your name in the footprints of a tortoise walking back into the ocean. When you came to me in a dream from the other place, I told you how much I missed you. You let me know you can do even more healing where you are now, out of your body. A year after the synagogue shooting, you embrace your friends at the Tree of Life as they are saying Kaddish for you, where we sit all day and name the dead. You whispered to your wife, who was living in a shadow, sitting alone on the tapestry sofa where she sat with you. Our prayers grow out of the shadow of necessity. Our music floats above the burden we carry, even though you want us to release it. I carry your spirit on my shoulders as I walk into the synagogue where we played music for you, as I follow an eclipse north, as I walk into a dream. I write your name in the sky after midnight, in the Leonid meteor showers, in the penumbra of an eclipse of the wolf moon. Your name is inside the music I play for you on my cello. I write your name in the invisible, where you disappeared that morning, where your spirit flew into a cloud. I write your name in an ice halo around the moon, and my prayer that this planet will one day, like an amaryllis, bloom again. I'm going to change tone completely with my next poem. I'm going to read my only Petaluma poem. This is, in the book, it's Double Exposure. I've renamed it just at the request of the two lovely women who lead this series, and it's now called Double Exposure at the Petaluma Poetry Walk. And this was my experience. I was one of the readers in Copperfield Books. There was a picture of me wearing the dress that I was wearing that day, next to a picture or want a copy of my book. And then there was a window, and I saw my reflection in that dress in the window. So I wrote this poem. Double exposure. On Kentucky Street, a red polka dot double exposure finds itself in the window of Copperfield's books. Red shoes dancing through the plot of a novel that hasn't been written. My red dress swirling in a dream, or was it a choreography of Dancing with a Broom in Iowa? Maybe it was the man who touched my shoulder late evening, stars swimming, but didn't let me see his face. Maybe it was Thursday. He might have been slicing watermelon for a picnic by the Petaluma River. The early afternoon sun reflecting in a window, and inside the glass, my photograph. As we spoke, a double exposure dream revealed doubly exposed words. The pattern of my dress superimposed over the window of my memories. That day when the swan flew to another lake at night and the stars kept swimming. And looks like I have time for two more poems. I'm going to read Late August at Point Reyes and then my final poem. I have 6 minutes, okay. So, well, we'll see.
Go for it.
So this is Late August at Point Reyes. It's, I would describe it, it's an environmental poem with a bit of social commentary. And, you know, we've all had to deal with fires in one way or another. And this poem has an epigraph. It's an Afghani proverb from the Pashtun tribe. A tree lives 100 years, and a bird perches in it just one night. Late August at Point Reyes. The mother tree gathers a redwood circle. A white deer runs through the forest. The hikers lose their way in the sunset, and the breadcrumbs run out. A white deer runs through the forest, gathering light that has sprayed from stars. A dream is shivering. A yearling tree has stretched into its first koan. The pine cones are dreaming of a forest as fire spreads its acres and sweeps up the hill. Steller's jays fly toward the darkness as branches begin to fall. A woodpecker taps a message, but the crazy woman who dropped a match in the undergrowth does not hear it. Her nightmares become mythological birds. Somewhere in time, prayers fly out of phoebes and nuthatches. The chanting is in a minor key. The notes burn across the page. In a different part of the world, 3 billionaires fly to the moon, while the rest of us try to rescue our burning planet. It's interesting with what's going on right now in the skies that a number of my poems do have astronomy references. I wanted to be an astronomer from the time I was 8 years old until I was 14. And at that point, I found out how much math was involved and immediately started looking for another career. So my final poem is ekphrastic. Every summer, I host an ekphrastic poetry workshop at the MSA Gallery in San Rafael. And I was very deeply inspired by a painting by Gail Morrison called Silk Moth. So this is called Wings of Stars. Wings of stars, the body of love, transparent against the sky. A tree with red dream apples, fireflies flickering. Clouds lit by ice crystals, forming rainbows around the moon. Where is this dream taking me? Which universe? What night? What will I remember in the morning? This is how we love. Meridians of silk dripping light over my body. Fireflies hovering in the inner sky.
Oh, beautiful.